You have already been manipulated today. Not once, not twice, dozens of times. And the terrifying part? You had no idea it was happening. Robert Cialdini spent 30 years uncovering the 6 invisible switches that control human behavior. And once you see them, you cannot unsee them. In 1977, psychologist Ellen Langer conducted an experiment at a copy machine. She asked people waiting in line if she could cut ahead. When she gave no reason, only 60% agreed. But here's where it gets strange. When she added the word because, even with a meaningless reason, compliance jumped to 94%. The word because triggered an automatic response in the human brain. We are programmed to comply when given any reason at all. Robert Cialdini realized this was just the beginning. There are 6 fundamental principles that govern human compliance, and they operate beneath our conscious awareness. Master these 6 principles, and you can influence almost anyone. But here is the question that drove Cialdini for 3 decades. Who else already knows these secrets, and how are they using them against you? The first weapon of influence is reciprocity, and it is more powerful than you think. In 1974, sociologist Philip Koons sent Christmas cards to 600 complete strangers. He expected nothing in return, but something remarkable happened. Responses poured in from people who had no idea who he was. Some included long, personal letters. Some sent photographs of their families. The rule of reciprocity had been triggered. When someone gives us something, we feel an overwhelming obligation to give something back. If you have ever accepted a free sample at a grocery store and felt compelled to buy the product, you have experienced this principle. Hare Krishna followers discovered this in the 1960s. They would give people flowers at airports, and donations skyrocketed. The gift creates a psychological debt. And here is what makes it dangerous. The debt feels real even when the gift was unwanted. Drop a like if this is already making you see things differently. But now imagine you are a car salesman. You have just spent 2 hours with a customer negotiating over the price of a vehicle. Finally, they agree. The deal is done. And here is where the real manipulation begins. You excuse yourself to check with your manager. When you return, you explain that you made a small error. The price needs to be $400 higher. What happens next defies logic. Most customers accept the higher price. They have already committed. They have already told their spouse. They have already imagined driving the car home. This is the principle of commitment and consistency. Once we make a choice, we experience internal pressure to behave consistently with that commitment. Our brain literally changes the way we see the decision to justify it. Cialdini discovered that this principle explains everything from why prisoners of war collaborated with their captors to why we defend politicians we voted for even when they fail us. And this leads to something even more disturbing. In 1964, 28-year-old Kitty Genovese was attacked outside her apartment in New York City. 38 of her neighbors witnessed the assault from their windows. Not one called the police. For decades, this case was cited as evidence of urban apathy. But Cialdini saw something different. He saw social proof in action. When we are uncertain, we look to others to determine correct behavior. Those 38 witnesses looked at each other's windows. They saw no one acting, so they assumed nothing was wrong. This is why laugh tracks work even though we hate them. This is why bartenders seed their tip jars. This is why hotel towel reuse signs that say most guests reuse their towels increase compliance by 26%. We are not following our own judgment. We are following the herd. And the larger the herd, the more powerful the pull. Think about that for a second. Every decision you believe is your own might simply be a reflection of what others have chosen. But that is not even the worst part. Everything I have told you so far, that is just how they soften you up. The real weapon of influence is authority, and it nearly killed people. In 1961, psychologist Stanley Milgram asked ordinary people to deliver electric shocks to strangers. The shocks were fake, but participants did not know that. An authority figure in a lab coat simply instructed them to continue. 65% delivered what they believed were fatal shocks. 2/3 of us would kill someone if an authority figure told us to. This is not ancient history. When a man dressed as a doctor told nurses to administer dangerous doses of medication, 95% of them complied. No questions asked. Cialdini realized that we do not evaluate authority. We obey it automatically. A uniform, a title, an expensive suit. These symbols bypass our rational mind entirely. If you have made it this far, subscribe now, because what comes next reveals how to protect yourself. Now let me put this in perspective. We say yes to people we like. That sounds obvious. But what Cialdini discovered about liking is anything but obvious. Physical attractiveness creates what researchers call a halo effect. We assume attractive people are smarter, kinder, and more trustworthy. In courtrooms, attractive defendants receive significantly lighter sentences. But it gets more insidious. We like people who are similar to us. So salespeople are trained to mirror your body language, mention shared interests, and find any connection. We like people who compliment us, even when we know the compliments are manipulative. And we like people we cooperate with. This is why police interrogators use good cop, bad cop. One officer becomes your ally, your friend, the only person on your side. And then you confess to them. Every friendship, every romance, every business deal involves the principle of liking. The question is, are you using it, or is it being used on you? And then it got worse. Cialdini saved the most dangerous principle for last: scarcity. In 1975, researchers asked people to rate chocolate chip cookies. Some participants received a jar with 10 cookies. Others received a jar with only 2. The scarce cookies were rated significantly more desirable. Same cookies, different perceived value. This is why limited time offers work. Why exclusive memberships feel valuable. Why we want things more when they are banned. But here is what nobody expected. Scarcity becomes even more powerful when something was abundant and then becomes scarce. This is called reactive scarcity. When Dade County, Florida banned phosphate detergents, residents rated them as gentler, more effective, and more desirable, even though the product had not changed. We do not just want scarce things. We want them more when we feel they are being taken away. And this final piece connects everything we have discussed. Now you see the full picture. These 6 principles, reciprocity, commitment, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity, are the invisible architecture of human behavior. They operate below conscious awareness. They affect doctors, lawyers, professors, and yes, they affect you. Cialdini did not discover these principles to help manipulators. He discovered them so you could recognize when they are being used against you. The defense is awareness. When someone gives you a free gift, pause. When you feel committed to a decision, question it. When everyone else is doing something, consider why. When an authority speaks, evaluate the credentials. When you like someone, examine your judgment. And when something becomes scarce, ask yourself if you truly want it. The science of influence is neither good nor evil. It is a tool. And now you know exactly how it works. The only question remaining is, how will you use this knowledge? Consider this. Every advertisement you see today will use at least one of these principles. Every negotiation, every political campaign, every dating interaction. Cialdini's research has been cited over 100,000 times. His principles are taught in business schools, used by marketers, and studied by governments. But most people walking through their daily lives have never heard of them. They are targets without knowing they are in the crosshairs. You are now different. You have seen behind the curtain. When a website shows only 3 items left in stock, you will recognize scarcity. When a salesperson mentions they grew up in your hometown, you will recognize liking. When an expert in a white coat recommends a product, you will recognize authority. This knowledge does not make you immune, but it makes you aware. And awareness is the first step to freedom. But wait, there is one more thing Cialdini discovered that changes everything about how to use these principles ethically. The 7th principle Cialdini later added is unity. We say yes to people who are one of us. Not just similar to us, but part of our tribe, our family, our identity group. This is why appeals to shared heritage are so powerful. Why brands try to create communities, not just customers. Why we defend people who share our labels, even when they are wrong. But here is the ethical insight Cialdini arrived at after decades of research. These principles work best when used honestly. The most effective salespeople are not manipulators. They are people who genuinely find reasons for reciprocity, authentic similarities, real scarcity. When you use these principles to highlight truths rather than manufacture deceptions, they become persuasion rather than manipulation. The difference is intent. Manipulation seeks to extract value. Persuasion seeks to create it. You now understand the science. The ethics are your choice, and that choice will define how you influence and how you allow yourself to be influenced. So what happens now that you know? Every time you feel an unexpected urge to buy, donate, or agree, you will have a moment of recognition. You will ask yourself which principle is at work. That moment of pause, that fraction of a second where you become aware, is your shield. Cialdini spent his career as what he called a spy in the world of compliance professionals. He trained as a car salesman, a telemarketer, a fundraiser. He went undercover to understand the weapons being used against all of us. And then he gave those secrets away. He armed ordinary people with the knowledge that professionals had hoarded for decades. His book Influence has sold over 5 million copies and changed how we understand human behavior. The manipulation will continue. The tactics will evolve. But now you are no longer blind to them. And in the battle for your decisions, awareness is the ultimate advantage. The question is no longer whether you are being influenced. The question is, what will you do about it? Now you understand the 6 weapons of influence that shape human behavior every single day. If this knowledge has changed how you see the world, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Tell me in the comments which principle has affected your life most. And if you want to master the psychology of success, watch this video next where we explore another groundbreaking book that will transform how you think.